concept which I am explaining in this video is the conversion of unit from one system to another. Now just see, the formula for that is N1U1 is equal to N2U2. Now I am going to explain what is that and how will I do that. For example, we have the unit of gravitational constant 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11 Newton meter squared kilogram minus 2. Clear? Now we have to convert it into dyne centimeter square gram minus 2. How will we convert it? So, during the conversion, the unit in which we have to convert, put that unit in the denominator, and the unit in which we have, put that in the numerator. So, we have 6.67, 10 to the power minus 11. We have Newton over dyne. Now we have meter over centimeter. Here the power we have 2 and here the power we have 1. Now kilogram over gram, here the power we have minus 2. That means the unit in which we have to convert, put that unit in the denominator, and the unit in which we have the question, put that unit in the numerator, and the powers you should kept at that. Okay. Now how will we solve that? Second step. In the second step, we convert the units in the same system and generally convert the units in the smaller system. So we know Newton is the bigger one and dyne is the smaller. So we have 10 to the power 5 over 1 because 1 Newton is equal to 10 to the power 5 times. Now here we have centimeter is a smaller one, meter is bigger one. So it is 100 over 1 to the power 2. Now here kilogram, as we know, 1000 over 1 to the power minus 2. I think it's clear. Now next step. We have 10 to the power 5. Now we have 10 to the power 2. 2 2s are 4. And here we have 10 to the power 3. 3 minus 2, that is minus 6. Clear? 10 to the power 3. 3 2s are 6. Now we add all the powers of the 10. 6.67. Here we have minus 11. So minus 11 plus 5 plus 4 minus 6. Clear? Now solve it. We have minus 2, that is 3, and this is minus 8. So our answer is 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 8. That means overall, I want to explain you the unit in which we have to convert, put that into the denominator, and unit which we have, put that into the numerator. After that, convert it. Okay. Now I am going to take another concept. Just note it down. Now one more question regarding that concept I am going to explain. For example, we have 4.2 joules and we have to write its unit in the form of alpha, beta and gamma. That means we have to write the units in form of symbols. As we know, the joule is equal to kilogram meter square per second square. And we have to write its unit in the form of alpha, beta and gamma to the power A, B and C. And we have to find the powers A, B and C. As I told you earlier, we write the unit which we have to convert into the denominator and the unit which we have in the numerator. So it is the power A, and here we have meter, beta to the power B, and here we have second, gamma to the power C. Now when we compare it, we have power 1. So we write it over here 1, we write it over here 2, and we write it over here minus 2. Clear? So this is alpha. So when we convert it, it becomes alpha minus 1. Here we have beta minus 2. And here we have gamma minus 1 into minus 2. And 4.2 as it is. So it becomes 4.2 alpha minus 1, beta minus 2, and gamma plus 2. So this is our answer. Now the next topic. Now I am going to explain a very silly question in order to explain these complicated concepts. Okay, just follow me. For example, we have a question: convert 72 kilometer per hour into meter per second. I know you can easily solve it by multiplying by 5 by 18. But physically, with the help of this formula, how will we convert kilometer per hour into meter per second? Let's see. In this case, as I told you earlier, we have to convert into meter per second. That means it becomes 72 kilometer hour minus 1. It goes into meter second minus 1. Clear? Now we write it. Numerator in the unit and the unit in which we have to convert into denominator. Clear? Now we have the power 1, so I put it here 1. Now here we have hours over second to the power minus 1. And the value which we have to convert, just multiply it with 72. Understand? Now we have 72. For kilometer we have 1000 over 1 to the power 1. And 60 into 60 to the power 1 minus 1. Now what we do? 72 into 10 to the power 3 into 36 to the power minus meter per second. Yeah, meter per second. Minus 1 into 10 to the power 2 minus 1. 6 6 are 36 and 100. That is 10 to the power 2 minus 1. Clear? No problem. Now we have 72. This is 36 to the power minus 1. So we divide it by 36. Clear? Now 10 to the power 3 into 10 to the power minus 2. 2 ones are 2. Now it's very easy to solve that. You can solve it. 9 8s are 72, 9 4s are 36, 4 2s are 8. That means we have 2 into 10. That means 20 meter per second. And I know that you easily solve it directly. But how do you solve this question physically with using the dimensional analysis? I think the concept is now clear. Now I am moving to the next concept. Now the next pattern I am going to take. How will you find the velocity and acceleration when displacement is given? And how will you find the velocity and displacement when acceleration is given? Okay. Now there are two concepts. For example, we have a question: y is equal to at cube plus bt square plus ct plus d. This is the displacement. And we have to find the velocity and acceleration of the particle for time is equals to 2 seconds or for 1 second. Clear? So when we have to go from displacement to velocity then to acceleration, we do the differentiation. Just remember that point. We start from displacement, so we do differentiation. It's easy to memorize. Clear? We start from distance. If you forget displacement, distance, we have to differentiate. No problem. Now comes. We have to find the velocity, that is dy over dt. Now differentiate. This is the power 3. We write over 3a 3 minus 1. This is the method. That is, the formula for differentiation is m to the power p is equal to p m to the power p minus 1. This is the formula for differentiation. Clear? So now go forward. We have 2b 2 minus 1, c t 1 minus 1, and d has nothing, so it becomes 0. So we have 3at square plus 2bt plus c. This is the velocity. Now we have to find the value of velocity at time is equal to 1 second. So when we put time is equal to 1 second, we have the answer 3a plus 2b plus c meter per second. This is the velocity. If we have to find the velocity at 0, that is the rest, that is if we have to find the initial velocity, then there put time is equal to 0. And our velocity becomes, the whole becomes 0 and only c meter per second. I think concept is clear now. Okay. Now move forward for the acceleration. Now again for acceleration, we differentiate it, that is dv over dt. So we have 3 2s are 6 at plus 2b. This has no variable of t, so it becomes 0. Clear? Now find the value of acceleration at time is equal to 1 second. So we have 6a plus 2b meter per second square. Don't forget to write the unit. If at time is equal to 0, the acceleration becomes what? 2b meter per second square. Now the next conversion, if acceleration is given and we have to find the velocity or displacement, how will we do? Just see that. Now next topic, if acceleration is equal to 3t square plus 2t plus 2, and we have to find velocity and the distance covered, that is the displacement, after t is equal to 2 seconds, in 2 seconds. Okay. Now how will we solve that? For acceleration to velocity and displacement, we use the integration. We use what? Integration. And the formula for integration is x to the power p plus 1 over t plus 1. Clear? For example, we have 3t square. How will we integrate it? We write 3 as it is. T to the power 2 plus 1 over 2 plus 1. So we have 3 t to power 3 over 3. This 3 get cancelled and we left over with t3. And this way we do the integration. Now I am doing the whole equation. So velocity becomes 3t cube over 3 plus 2t square over 2. And here we have nothing, so just we write here t in case of integration. So we have t cube t square plus 2t. And we have to find the velocity at time is equal to 2 seconds. So write in place of t 2 seconds. So we have 2 to the power 3 plus 2 to the power 2 plus 2 into 2. So we have the answer 8 plus 4 plus 4. That means we have 60 meter per second. Now I am going to show you how will you find the distance covered in 2 seconds. For that we integrate the velocity. That means we have t to the power 4 over 4, t to the power 2 plus 1, 3 over 3, and 2 t to the power 1 plus 1 over 1 plus 1. So we have t4 over 4, t3 over 3 plus 2t over 2, it get cancelled. Now put the value of t is equal to 2 seconds and find the displacement of the particle. And I think you can solve it. Now I am going to next concept. Now we have a question of this type, that is the next concept. Here it is given, if position coordinates of a particle at time t is equal to 0 is 2 meter and 3 meter. That means the position of a particle is given in the form of x coordinate and y coordinate. And we know x coordinate and y coordinates are represented by I and j. So for time is equal to 0, the position particle is what? 2i plus 3j. Clear? Now for time t is equal to 2 seconds, we have 6i plus 7j. Similarly, for time t is equal to 5 seconds, we have 13i plus 14j. Now we have to find the average velocity. Average velocity means we have to find the displacement. Displacement means difference of initial and final position. Difference of initial and final position. This is not the, we have to find the total displacement. Average velocity means difference of final position from the initial position. And here it is given in the question, find from t0 to t5 seconds. If it is given that t2 seconds, then we take the position vector of 2 seconds. But here it is given, take the position vector at 5 seconds. So I will take the position vector of this because it is at t is equal to 5, and position vector of this because it is at t is equal to 0. And there is nothing we have to do with that. Clear? Now see how we proceed that. So average velocity vector is equals to 13i plus 14j minus 2i plus 3j. And we know velocity means change in position over time. This is the change in position. That means distance over time. How much time it is taken? 5 seconds. So we divide it with 5. Clear? Now subtract that. We have 11i plus 11j over 5. So we have 11 over 5 I plus j. In this way we find the average velocity vector. Now next question. Now the next topic in the mechanics, in the physics, you have Newton's equations. S is equal to ut plus half at square, v is equal to u plus at, v square is equal to u square plus 2as. You all know how to solve these equations, so I am not going to explain those types of numericals in this video. Now there's a one equation in which you have a little bit issues. Some children have issues. I can't say a lot of children have issues. So I am taking the question from that equation. And that equation is the distance covered by a particle in nth second. So this question is related with the concept of distance covered by a particle in nth second. Okay. Firstly, for that, remember the formula. S is equal to u plus half a 2t minus 1. Clear? How will you remember this formula? Generally, we forget this formula. We always remember the formula ut plus half AT square. Remove t from here. We got u. Clear? Half a we got here. Remove t from here. But in place of t, we write 2t minus 5. Clear? I think the formula now you can easily memorize. Now comes to the question. We have to find the percentage increase in displacement during 4th second to 3rd second. That means a particle covers a distance in 3 seconds, then a particle covers a distance in 4 seconds. The distance covered by the particle in 3 seconds and the distance covered by the particle in 4 seconds. We have to find the change in the distance, and after that we also have to find the percentage increase in that displacement. Two things are there. Firstly, I find the distance covered in 3 seconds and distance covered in 4 seconds. Okay? Okay, now we start. Distance covered in 3 seconds. So as we know, initial velocity is 0 because the particle starts from rest. So we have half a 2 into 3 minus 1. We have a by 2, 6 minus 1, that is 5. So we have 5a over 2. Clear? Now for the 4th second. For the 4th second, we have initial velocity 0, half a 2.4 minus 1. So we have half a h minus 1. So what we have answer? 7a by 2. This is the distance covered in 4 seconds. This is the distance covered in 3 seconds. Now we have to find the percentage increase. For finding the percentage increase, what is the formula? Change in percent over original value into 100. What value we have to write here? Because we have to compare with 3rd second. So we write the distance covered in 3rd second in denominator. And what is delta t? That means we have to find the difference in between 3 seconds and 4 seconds. Clear? Now just put into the formula and find the percentage increase. We have 7a by 2 minus 5a by 2 over 5a by 2 into 100. Clear? So we have 2a over 2, 5a over 2 into 100. It get cancelled, We have 2 over 5 into 100 and we have 20 and this is 40%. So from this question, you learn how will you find the distance covered in nth second, and also the mathematical concept, how will you find the percentage increase. Now the next topic. Now this question is from the percentage error, and the question is concerned with the pendulum, time period of the pendulum. As we see that simple pendulum and the question of percentage error, just remember the formula. Time period is equal to 1 upon 2 pi under root L over G, or we can say that time period is equal to 4 pi square T square L over G. Remove the under root. Clear? Now comes to the question. Read it carefully. For a simple pendulum, time taken for 20 oscillations is 30 seconds. That means in doing 20 oscillations, pendulum takes 30 seconds. That means actual value of time period is 30 seconds. Having least count of 1 second. Now length of pendulum is 55 centimeter, having least count 1 millimeter. Actually this least count is also very important in finding the percentage error. Now find the percentage error in the value of G. That means we have to find the percentage error in the value of gravity. So just observe the formula, we have gravity over here. So transform the formula, we have L over 4 pi square T square. Clear? So what we do, this is the constant quantity. We leave the constant quantity in finding the errors in case of dimensions. So when we have to find a percentage error, we have delta G over G is equal to delta L over L. This is in denominator. So when it comes in the numerator, it becomes -2. But in percentage error, we don't subtract anything. We always add everything. So we write, one more step I want to explain you before writing this. We have G is equal to L over T square. I am ignoring 4 pi square. Clear? Now see over here. How will we do that? For finding the percentage error, we have delta G over G is equals to delta L over L and T to the power 2 plus 2 delta T over T. Here I also want to explain you. For example, you have a question, P is equal to A cube B square C 4. And if we have to find a percentage error for that, we write it in this way, delta P over P 3 times delta A over A 2 times delta B over B plus 4 times delta C over C. This is the concept, this is the base. How will we find that? That's why in the same way we add the 2 times delta T over T. Clear? Now comes to the question. Now we have delta L over L. This is the length of pendulum. See here, length of pendulum is 55. See here, and least count is 1 millimeter. So it is in centimeter, it is in millimeter. So when we convert millimeter into centimeter, we have 0.1. 1 upon 10, that is 0.1. So in place of delta L, we write 0.1. We put least count over here. If it is given in percentage directly, we directly put in percentage and solve the question. Okay, now the actual value is 55. Then 2. Now here, just ignore 20. There is no need. But the least count is what? 1 second. We have to concern with the least count only. So we write over here 1. And total time taken is what? 30. I think the concept is clear now. Now we have 0.1 over 55 plus 2 over 30. Wait for a minute here. One thing also we have also to do here. Now we have to find percentage error. In case of percentage error, we have to multiply each value with 100. Then only we got the percentage error. So we have delta G over G into 100 is equal to 100 into 0.1 over 55 plus 2 over 30. That means we have to multiply each term with 100. And after that we solve it. Now just see how we will do that. Calculate. So when multiply it, we get 10 over 55. And here we get 200 over 30. It's get down 20 by 3. Clear? Now solve it. We have 5 2s are 10, 5 1s are 5. Now divide 2 by 11. What the value we have? 2, 11. 0.0, 11 1s are 11, 9, 8. That is 0.18. And here we have 3 6 are 18, 3 6 are 18. Clear? Now add both of them. So we have 6.78 percentage or 6.8 percentage. In this way we do the percentage error questions. Now the next topic. Now there's a question in front of you. This is a point A and this is a point B. What is the answer of that question? The velocity of a projectile. That means something is thrown upward in the air and after traveling the projectile path, it falls at B. The velocity at point A, it is given 2I plus 3j. And in the question, it is asked that find the velocity at the point B. Now watch here on the screen. Just see for a moment. This component, this value denotes x-axis. And this value denotes y-axis. Now x-axis remains same. But y-axis goes downward. And this is at point A. So it is in front of A. We are not asking here and there. We are asking the point here on the x-axis. So just the velocity component of B is 2I minus 3j. Simple. Finish. Now this topic is based on the relative velocity, relative speed. That means relative motions. This question is based on the relative motion. Now the question goes like this. A person reaches a point directly opposite on the bank of the river. That means there is a man who is crossing a river. Velocity of water in the river is 4 meters per second. Because whenever we cross any river, there must be some velocity of the river. And some velocity with the man goes into the, try to cross the river. But because of the velocity of water, his velocity, actual velocity get distorted. So, we have a different net velocity, which is actually. I want to clear that concept with one more thing. For example, if a train is going in this direction, to right, and if a train is going to left, then we feel that relative velocity becomes more. And the train crosses each other in a very less time. That means net relative velocities add up. When a train is moving in a right direction, another train is also moving in the right directions. So both velocities, relative velocities get subtracted. And it takes a lot of time to cross one train to another. Similarly, in this way, when the velocity of river is in, for example, this direction, velocity of river is in this direction, and there is a point opposite to, and this is the river, this is the another bank. If a man has to reach from here to here, for example, he has to reach here. So when a man started swimming, he tried to swim in this way, but actually he swims in this way. So this is the velocity of the river, and this is the actually the velocity of man. Man wants to go directly opposite to the other bank, but in reality he moves in this way. So this is the velocity of man, and this is the relative velocity, real velocity, by which he crosses the river. So when we apply the Pythagoras theorem, we have like this. So this is VR, velocity of river, this is velocity of man, and this is the relative velocity. That means delta V. Now this is the 90 degree. For example, I will take it Vx. So we have to add Vr and Vx because it is 90 degree from the Pythagoras theorem. So Vx plus Vr is equal to V of man. That means the velocity at which the man is crossing the river. So from the Pythagoras theorem, we take the square of that. So in the formula, we have to put this velocity, relative velocity. So in order to find Vx, we just take the under root of man's velocity minus river. So we always subtract the velocity of man with the velocity of river. Clear? So if the question only asks what is the net velocity with which the man crosses, we have simply to find that one and nothing else. Now in our question it is given that width of river is this and we have to find the time taken to cross the river. That means in how much time, what is the shortest interval of time in which the man crosses that river. Clear? Now from here the relative velocity becomes what? Velocity of the person is what? 5 and river is 4. So this is 5 square minus 4 square. So we have 25 minus 16, that is 9, and we got 3 meter per second. I think the concept is clear now. So please note it, note this formula. Wait a minute. Note this formula. Relative velocity is equal to under root of velocity of man minus velocity of river water. Write this formula. Now comes to the question. We know our old formula. Speed is equal to distance over time. So we have to find the time. Find the time taken to cross the river. So our formula becomes what? Time is equal to distance over speed. Clear? Our formula becomes what? Distance over speed. So what is the distance? That is the width of river. Width of river over relative speed. Relative speed. That means width of river is what? 84.6 and relative speed what we have found? 3. Now divide it. 3 2 is 6, 7, 8, 3 8 is 24.2 seconds. In this way we can solve the questions related with the relative speed. Now this question is based on the concept of again the relative speed of man with the river. Now observe the question we have. The stream of river is flowing with a speed of 2 km per hour and a swimmer can swim at a speed of 4 km. Find the angle of swimmer with the flow of river. That means a man is crossing a river with some speed and river is flowing with some speed. We have to find the angle with that swimmer makes with the river in order to cross the river straight. So as we know, the river is flowing in this way. That means this is the velocity of the river and a man wants to go to other side of the river. So when he started swimming, he flows like this. So this is the velocity of the man. Clear? Now this is equals to VR, velocity of river. So we have to find the angle, this one. Clear? Now but here we see that this is the perpendicular and this is the angle theta. Clear? So we have to find that one, this is alpha. That means the man is making an angle of this with the river. Clear? So we have to find this one. So it is angle theta. This is the perpendicular and this is the angle theta with the man makes with the river. No. This is the angle theta the man makes with the river. This is the river goes on. Clear? So, this is perpendicular and this is hypotenuse. You may confuse over here. Look, Joe. Now this question is again based on the relative speed of a man with respect to water. And in this question we have to find the angle with which a man makes with the river in order to cross the river straight. Okay, you can just read out the question, and after observing this question we got that the speed of the river is 2 km per hour and the speed of the man who is crossing the river, that is the speed of swimmer, is 4 km per hour. That means our speed of river is 2 km per hour and the speed of man is 4 km per hour. Clear? So we have to find the angle of swimmer with the flow of the river. That is, we have to find the angle made by the swimmer in order to cross the river. For that, you remember velocity of river over velocity of man. How it comes? This is our figure. This is the river. It is flowing in this direction. If a man wants to cross it straight, it must flow in this direction. Clear? Then, because of the direction of flow of river, he crosses the river straight. That means this is the direction in which the man flows. This is the velocity of the man. And this is the velocity of river. So this is the angle theta. Now the angle, the side opposite to angle, this is the perpendicular and this is the hypotenuse. That's why sin theta is equal to VR over Vm. Clear? That means velocity of river over velocity of man. Now I think you understand why I write this. Okay? So we have solved this. This is 2 by 4 and we have 1 by 2. And what is the sin theta of 1 by 2? That is what angle? Tell me. It is 30 degree. That means theta is 30 degree. Now the man wants to cross the river straight. He just wanted to cross the river straight. That means the point where he started to cross the river, and he wants to go opposite side of the river in front of that point. For that, net angle is 90 plus 30. That is 120 degree. This is our answer. Now see the question. There's a question. A ball is thrown vertically upward with a velocity v0. That means if we throw the ball in upward direction with a velocity v0. If a drag force F is equal to m gamma v square is applied on it, find the time taken to reach the zenith. So in this question we have to find how much time the ball is taken to reach the highest point. So whenever we throw a ball in the air, when it reaches to its highest point, its velocity becomes 0. Now a drag force is applied on the ball. So we have the value of the force m gamma v square. So when we compare with the formula, we have the value of acceleration is equal to gamma v square. Okay. In order to find the velocity at the zenith, we must have to find the velocity from the acceleration, and this can be calculated by integrating it. So we have to integrate this in order to find the velocity. But one thing more is there. When we throw any ball into the air, there's one force also acting on that ball, and this is the acceleration due to gravity. So when we throw any ball in the opposite direction, that is in the air, we have the direction minus g. Okay, when we throw any ball in the air, so the net acceleration acting on the ball is minus g plus gamma v square. Now we have to integrate this in order to get the velocity of the ball. So we have dv over dt is equals to minus g plus gamma v square. Now we have to integrate both the sides in order to get the velocity. Now at the highest point the velocity becomes 0 and the initial velocity is v0. So we have to integrate in between these two limits. So now this equation becomes in this way. You must remember that point, that at the highest point the velocity of any particle is 0. So we have dt is equals to dv over g plus gamma v square. Take the minus sign over here. Now when we integrate it, initial velocity is 0 and at the highest point velocity becomes 0 and the time here is 0 to t. Clear? Now when we integrate it, these quantities are constant. So just divide throughout. We have v0 to 0 dv over g over gamma plus v square and take out the gamma outside. Clear? So we have 1 over gamma v0 to 0, just make it whole square. So we have under root g over gamma whole square is plus v square. Now when we integrate, we observe that we can apply the formula of tan inverse x here. So as we know, I just remind you the formula of tan inverse. I think you know that formula. If we have integration of x square plus a square, we have its integration 1 over a tan inverse x over a. Now using that, we have 1 over gamma, 1 over under root g over gamma and tan inverse v over under root g over gamma from v0 to 0. Clear? And now here we have t. After solving it, we have 1 over under root g gamma. This gamma get cancelled. And here we have tan inverse under root gamma and this v becomes v0 and here we have under root g. This is the time taken by the ball to reach the Janath. Now see the next question. If the position coordinates of the particle are x, y, z and these values are given and we have to find the velocity of the particle. Now this question is based upon all the three coordinates. That means the position vectors of the particle in three coordinates are given and we have to find the velocity. When we have the displacement vector, and we have to find the velocity, we do the differentiation. I told you. Okay. Now we differentiate each position vector of the particle with respect to time. Clear? First one, x is equal to a cos omega t. That means dx over dt is equal to a omega sine omega t minus, according to our formula. Next one, y is equal to a sine omega t. So we have a omega cos omega t. Clear? This is dy by dt. That means velocity in y direction, velocity in x direction. Clear? Now z is equal to a omega t. Velocity in z direction we have a omega after differentiation. So net velocity, simply what you can do, the simple mathematics, velocity is vx square, vy square, vz square. Clear? So we just take the square of everything. So we have minus a omega sine omega t whole square plus a omega cos omega t whole square plus a omega square. Now when we observe, we have a omega square in everywhere. So we just take outside, we have a omega. Clear? Now we have the square of this is sine square omega t cos square omega t plus 1. Clear? Plus 1. So we have a omega. This value is 1 plus 1. So we have what? Under root 2. So our answer is under root 2 a omega. Okay. Now in the next video, I will bring some more. You can also watch the videos regarding maths and chemistry on the playlist tag name is Engineering IIT JEE Engineering Test Series. If you like that, please comment and share with your friends. Thank you.